Welcome to Practice Day, Alumni Day at the 2016 NHL Winter Classic for ESPN.com. I'm Joe McDonald alongside Pierre LeBrun. How you doing all right, my friend? Doing okay?
Tell you what, the ice better be doing okay when the puck finally drops on New Year's Day. Players on both teams, but particularly the Canadiens who skated later in the day, saying that the ice wasn't very good. And that's the comments that were on the record. A couple players off the record said it was brutal. Now, again, that's not anyone's fault with the league. I think the sun, the changing weather conditions, but over the years, one thing I've learned, when it's actually game day, the real game, Dan Craig and his staff usually gets it right.
Yeah, no doubt. And on the ice, speaking of hockey, some interesting happenings here today. The Bruins, we all know that they lose Brad Marchand for 3 games due to a suspension, but the Canadiens are getting a familiar face back in the lineup, which is huge for them. What's going on with them?
Brendan Gallagher returns after missing more than a month with 2 broken fingers. Boy, since day one, he had targeted the Winter Classic as his return, but you can't just will yourself into it. I mean, he has to be medically cleared. He was, and Michel Therrien took one look at him in practice here, the outdoor practice on New Year's Eve, and said, "You're in." And they need him. I mean, he is one of their better offensive players, but also his character. I mean, he's been a big hole in this lineup, and boy, the Habs, who are absolutely reeling entering this Winter Classic, only 3 wins in 15 December games. And the return of Brendan Gallagher, well, the look on his face probably said more than his actual words. He's tremendously excited, skating on the top line with Thomas Plekanec and Matt Pacioretty. I'd say for the Bruins, the loss of Marchand right after they lost David Krejci, one of their top offensive players, to injury, Joe, as you know, maybe a little deflating to the Bruins here at Gillette Stadium.
You had to drop that in, didn't you?
No, I'm just saying. But you know what? It'll tell you a lot about the Bruins, I think, the way they respond, because now they're missing 2 of their top 6 wingers. As we know, they're a team in transition right now. A lot of young players are not as deep as they've been over the past decade. I think that's a huge test for them entering this Winter Classic without Marchand as well as Krejci.
Another local favorite here around New England. Canadiens goaltender Mike Condon was given the nod. He will start for the Canadiens here at the Winter Classic. His dad was actually, who is a state trooper, escorted the Canadiens team bus to the practice today, which was kind of cool. So just a phenomenal start for him. What do you think it's going to be like for him to be in this situation, given the current state of the Canadiens?
You know, I think it's one of those things where, the rest of the team can feed off that because they know that he's from here. They know that he grew up a Patriots fan coming to this stadium. In fact, he joked that he's used to being in the last row in the nosebleeds when he comes to Gillette Stadium. But I think that's something that the rest of the Habs can feed off. Like, how about this for this kid who wasn't even supposed to make the team in camp? Has tried to do his best while the great Carey Price is out. Some games have been better than others for him, but I see a team that would want to rally around a kid like that who's from here, and this is a big moment. And I thought it was interesting when I asked Condon at the press conference about how many family and friends would be here and which colors they would wear. He was quick to say that they would all be wearing the colors of the Montreal Canadiens.
And without a doubt, I asked him how many people he was going to have here, and his brother told me later on that they're going to have 2 busloads of people, family and friends here, and it's going to be a pretty good tailgate party, no doubt.
And again, in the big picture, Joe, this is as much tension as I've felt heading into a Winter Classic since this event has started, in the sense of a Montreal team in a near panic situation. Their lead atop the division completely slipped away. They're in a dogfight to make the playoffs now. The 2 points are so huge for them. But I also think for the Bruins, who, while they've, exceeded expectations, a lot of people didn't think they'd be a playoff team, so they're actually sitting pretty. But you also feel like now that you're here, you don't want to let go of it, and it doesn't really feel like they have a firm grasp on where they are. So to me, on the big stage, the Winter Classic, 2 bitter rivals, this game feels like a lot more than just one regular season game.
The hated rivalry between the Boston Bruins and Montreal Canadiens continues Friday here at Gillette Stadium for the 2016 Winter Classic. For ESPN.com, I'm Joe McDonald. He's Pierre LeBrun.